Mhm. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Renny Mclean from Dallas, Texas, formerly of London, England, to be blunt, East Dulwich, Peckham area. I'm now of Dallas, Texas, USA. I am so proud to talk about Bishop Mcleod, Apostle Mcleod, and Pastor Winnie, Prophet Winnie, people who are beyond their years in terms of the now. There are people who live in the present who have no grasp of what's coming. But there are those of us who've touched the world that is to come, because the world that is to come is invading our present. And these are days that our predecessors never saw. I remember the late Morris Cerullo. I'll never forget, before COVID broke and before it really became an epidemic, he used his words in his last TV interview. They said to him, Dr. Cerullo, what do you say about COVID? And I'll never forget what Dr. Cerullo said. He said, I don't remember seeing this. I knew when Dr. Cerullo made that statement, he said he don't remember seeing this. I knew that the Lord was going to take him. Not because he was in sin or anything foolish like that, but because he had reached the age where he was no longer able to see. These are the days where only those who can see can lead. They have served their generation, and we bless the Lord for those who were before us. We thank God for the Morris Cerullos, for the T.L. Osborns, for the Oral Roberts, for those who have influenced our lives. But now there are new generals that God has raised up. We were part of the former. God has privileged us to be part of the latter. Let me take you inside the mind of God. When God wanted to deliver a nation, he raised up a Moses. When God wanted to change the world as it became, he raised up a Noah and gave him precise instructions on how to build an ark. That was where we saw the first definition of a remnant in the Bible. And then when God wanted to raise up a king who would challenge the enemies of God, he raised up a David. There are people that God raises up, and to you it might look for the moment, but their preparation was in years. I've been privileged to say I know Bishop Keith and Pastor Winnie. It's almost hard to believe, 37 years. It was 37 years ago I bumped into Bishop Mcleod at the Christian bookstore on Lordship Lane, East Dulwich, London. And we began a lifetime covenant and relationship that nobody could ever change or shake. We've been part, and we are part of so many seasons of each other's lives. I love them dearly, and I tell you, God has raised him up for this hour. That's why a lot of you have seen what he's gone through physically. You've seen the battles he's won. And I say he's won because no one can have a victory nobody can have a victory unless they had a battle. And he's gone through battles, and yet he's standing with an end time message to speak to this generation. Prophet Winnie also. It's hard for me to say Bishop Keith without saying Pastor Winnie. The same way it's really hard to say Adam without saying Adam, because the two are one and both are carrying the same message. They move in signs, wonders, and miracles. And my experience with them as a couple is simply this. They've always been on the cutting edge of the now. They've always been on the cutting edge of the supernatural. I mean, I remember when I met them years ago. In fact, he used to preach in my crusades in London. I remember the first time he saw blind eyes open. It was in my meeting in Battersea Town Hall. I'll never forget it. I mean, there's just so many things that I look at, and I can say, I look at Bishop Keith, Apostle Keith, and I look at Pastor Winnie. And even though we say Pastor Winnie, but you know what people don't realize? Pastor Winnie pastors, she preaches, she teaches, and she demonstrates. She's founded ministries. She's helped with Bishop really raise up churches. In the true biblical sense of the word, she really is an apostle because she carries the weight of one. And so I'm so proud to say today that London has two end-time generals that God has raised up to bring you back into the realm of the supernatural. Now, why do I say that? Because today there is a departure from the supernatural to be acceptable and to become modern. But I testify this to you as a man of God. Could Jesus be Jesus without signs and wonders? Could Moses have gone to Pharaoh without signs and wonders? No. In these end times, it's going to take people who are on the cutting edge of signs and wonders. And for this purpose, I believe that God has raised up apostles, Keith Mcleod, an apostle, Winnie Mcleod. Yes, Winnie, I call you that because you're worthy of it and you're proven. God bless you. And I want you to listen to these two generals of the faith because they're called by God to bring you into that new place. I love you always. Your brother, your friend, forever and ever. Love you with all my heart. Apostle Renny Mclean. Bye-bye now.